All right, so this is Supernatural Podcast number 2. I'm Justin, and unfortunately, since our last podcast, JP, he's no longer with us. I mean, he's not dead or anything. He's just back in Danville because he's a lazy ass that won't go more than 10 miles from his home. But so my name is Justin. If you're not familiar with the channel, we're the Podcasting Dead. We do podcasts about all kinds of stuff from JP's sexual exploitations to TV shows and conspiracies, and now we're doing a little mini-series talking about supernatural stuff. If you haven't listened to the first one yet, go check that out on our profile. In the meantime, I've got someone to fill in JP's seat who has a lot more ghost stories. My friend Jessi, how are you?
I'm good.
It's pretty cool because I know JP because I podcasted with you first.
Yes.
So technically, we go back further with podcasting history than I do with JP.
This is true.
You brought us together and then you left.
And now I'm like really sad that he's not here because that's really the only reason I wanted to do this podcast in the first place.
I'd say he's in a better place, but it's Danville, so it's not a better place.
No. I thought he would at least get out and see me, but I guess not.
Yeah, I told him. I said Jessi's gonna think you don't like her anymore.
That's exactly what I think.
Just like, he's in that. He's in that.
Sounds exactly like him.
He goes through multiple personalities. Today he was in his old grandma phase. Tomorrow he'll be kind of gangster. You know, he's gotten this on my mama kind of kid.
I like it when he mixes the two.
Right, great gangster grandma as a middle-aged balding white guy. It's just it's creepy.
He needs his own show. Somebody needs to follow him with a camera.
I think he'd probably go to jail if somebody actually did that.
There would definitely need to be some editing done. But
do you follow him on Periscope?
What is Periscope?
It's like a live thing.
Kidding.
And I promise we're gonna get to the ghost stuff. But JP has a Periscope, and Monday he was actually at Ballad Brewing and he was filming it, and then all of a sudden, like, the next video that pops up is called "That's a Big Effing Turtle." And I look at it, and he somehow went from being in a bar with a bunch of people to he's out in the river by himself chasing a big turtle.
I'm not surprised one bit. Like, that's exactly what I expect from him.
But Jessi is the one that introduced me to JP because we had our own podcast back in the day, and she brought JP in, and JP just stole me away from her.
Well, I knew he would be
the one.
He would be a gangster at this. Grandma gangster.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it, but we're going to give him hell for not coming down. And if the sound quality isn't quite on par with a normal podcast, that's because we're actually down in my basement. I didn't want to call it my man cave. I tried to be a hipster on that.
No, this is an awesome man cave. It says man cave.
That's what I was about to say. My mom on Christmas gave me this big sign that said man cave, and I said, well, I guess either I'm going to not put that up and my mom's going to be mad at me for not using her gift, or I'm going to have to start calling it a man cave.
It is what it is, though.
But yeah, so we are in the man cave. Of course, I'll dress this up post-production, so hopefully it'll sound pretty good. The audio levels are looking good, so I think we're good to go.
Well, it's my fault because my Tahoe is a piece of crap. I love her, but she will not make it to Danville. She will.
Does she have a name?
Oh, yeah, Rosie. But hold on. Rosie O'Donnell, because she's a Tahoe.
Rosie O'Donnell. The name of the Tahoe.
She's my baby.
I believe that needs its own show. We'll just follow it around.
Oh, it would just be her breaking down a lot and me sweating in there.
How long have you had it?
A few months. It was Jack's mom's, and she quit using it for deliveries for the florist because it breaks down all the time, and then we need a vehicle. We're like, we'll just take it. So.
Jack being Jessi's husband. It's like, is he a ghost? But so let's get into it. Let's talk ghosts. So we're doing I talked about my experiences last time. JP only had one, and he's pretty sure drugs are what influenced it or something. But you, on the other hand, have a ton of ghost stories and paranormal things that have happened to you.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start.
I don't either. That's why earlier I asked how long this was going to be, because I didn't know if I needed to get the best ones or just jump into it and tell it all.
Well, of course we want the best ones.
Okay, well, I mean, we could just focus on the house I live in.
I was going to say, let's do this. Let's get let's start with the earliest supernatural thing you can remember, and I'll guide you up through present day.
I remember one time when I was like 7 or 8, I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw this childlike angel thing sitting on top of my dresser. And it freaked me out, but I wasn't as scared as I thought I would be if I saw a ghost. And that happens every time I see something.
I think you would just be freaked out.
I just covered my head up and went back to sleep. And that's happened multiple times. Not with the same angel thing, but every time I see a ghost or something at night, I just cover my head and go back to sleep. And the next morning, I'm like, okay, that didn't freak me out that much. But anyway, I think a lot of the stuff happened as I started getting older.
So do you think, as someone who's, I love the super, I'm skeptical on it, but I love it. I think it's fun.
You're crazy. You know more about that than I do.
Oh, I read a lot.
How can you be...
my question to you is, do you think whatever it could be, because obviously it might be just one that follows you around, but has any of it ever seemed sinister?
No.
Or does it all seem pretty friendly in nature?
No, I've never had anything scary happen, like sinister, like that, like
evil intent,
like 666 or whatever.
Except for just now, it total was 666.
Over here, but I ordered some cookies instead. But speaking of following me around, I've had coin non-stop. Yes, and I didn't know what it was. I had no clue. I really thought it was just I had coins stuck to me, like I had a pile of change in my bed, and it just stuck to me at night, and then during the day. That's how spirits contact you. And I was like, shut the freak up. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah.
I said, shut the fuck up. And because, that stuff just freaked me out so bad. And I hadn't even thought about that. But it literally happened multiple times a day for a year and a half. And then it started getting less and less and less. But, I mean, that was just that's one of the most consistent things that has happened.
Is the change following you? I wonder if people use change to talk to spirits. JP and I were in a graveyard, and we found one little in our town. I keep saying Danville, but we try to keep it a little discreet. But at this point, we've seen Danville and all these other places. But we found one little plot to Arnett's was the name of every person in that grave. And there were coins all over certain graves. And I wonder, do you know what that means?
Well, I know that some cultures say that you put a penny in the coffin with them, and that's how they'll contact you in the afterlife. They'll drop it around you.
That's really great. And what did you say? Dimes were what you had a lot
everything.
Of, right?
It was everything? Quarters, too. And even my parents would joke about it, like, when are you going to start pooping out dollar bills? That's how often it happened. Multiple times a day.
Jeez, I'd be like, well, look, whoever's following me, just give me quarters. I know. I'm trying to buy.
Look at me now. I'll be okay with it. It's not going to freak me out.
Well, so you have 2 kids, and jumping forward a little bit, have your kids had because kids always say freaky stuff, man. Have yours?
Yeah. Well,
said anything?
So one time when Lalo, my son, he's 7 now. Excuse me. When he was I came out of the bathroom. He was standing in the hallway, and his bedroom was at the other end of the hallway, and his back was to the wall, and he just looked terrified. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Shh, the monster's in there," or something crazy like that. He just said something about a monster, and I was like, "What does it look like?" He said, "It looks like a monster," and I was like, "Okay." And then he wanted his blanket. So that's all I can really remember. I don't know. It freaked me out though. I posted about it on Facebook. So
how long ago was that?
He was 3. It's been
few
years.
That's been a long time ago.
But he had night terrors almost every night.
God, those I've never had those or been around anybody, but I hear they're horrible.
They're so freaky. There were so many nights I was literally scared that he was possessed. That's haunted house. He hasn't had any.
Oh wow!
Right.
So tell us about so this is the house. I've been telling people on the podcast about it for a while, and now we're finally talking about it. So tell us a little bit about this house, just
Okay, so this house was built in the 1820s. And there's 2 graveyards over there. One of them has a bunch of babies in it.
That's
and
freaky.
A couple sets of twins. And I haven't found the other graveyard yet. So it's not,
wow.
I moved in, I knew the house. And it's free rent.
Who told you that?
All right, here's what happened. Jack, my husband, in the summertime, last summer. And while he was on the roof working on it, the guy that owns the house was talking to me about how it was haunted. And this was before we ever even knew we were going to live there. Jack was just doing work on the house. And he told me about how the haunted crib in the attic move. Everybody could hear it move. People could hear babies crying and all that, and there weren't any babies. And how this one little girl had seen another lady ghost in there on the steps. And he just told me a couple of different stories, and that's freaky, And then fast forward almost a year later, we need a place to live, and he needs somebody to work on the house. So it's free rent as long as we're working on it. And I told Jack, I said, "There's no way in hell I'm living there because it's my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare."
It's just hey, baby, remember that I told you with the possessed baby crib and everything?
Yeah, exactly. He was like, well, I could probably talk to Sammy about that house. And before he could even finish his sentence, I said, nope, nope.
I'm not moving in that house.
But then I thought about with it, and I thought, get my spirit guides on my side, all this good stuff, have crystals. I made sure I had my black tourmaline.
I don't worked?
Yeah, because I haven't had nothing evil has happened, but stuff happens. But I think it's the little baby ghost that lives there.
I just wondered, like on a physics level, like what is it that makes them ward off like ghosts? Or
I'm not
spirits
sure.
or...
I know because energy, and since the paranormal is energy, it can interact with each other or be like magnets or.
That's cool. So that's kind of like a So like if they have no or transmission or whatever, and it interferes with a ghost, like almost ups their field.
Right. And people use crystals to align their chakras because your chakras are your energy fields, and if you use certain kind of crystals, it'll balance out your energy. But anyway, that's a whole.
And is that stuff real? Like, have you ever messed with any of that? Like, I tried. Like, I don't know anything about it, so I can't be like, oh, I don't believe in that, or I do believe. I've heard people mention it, but I've never like dealt with it.
I believe it, and I don't know if it's just in my head, and that's why it works, but.
A little bit of a placebo going, maybe.
Yeah, but
I've always said that there's been one of those like CBD cigarettes, it's like weed but without THC, and I did feel calm. Like, you know what, it might just be a placebo, but I'll take it. You know what I mean? I still felt pretty good night, even if it was.
That so.
I enjoyed it.
Bring on the placebo.
Go to your local vape shop. You can get them for $1.
Oh, I can get it at the Apple Market down the road.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like whole packs?
I don't know. They sell gummies and oil.
CBD gummies.
I don't know, but anyway.
A lot of CBD everything, but I tried one of those CBD cigs, and I felt like a badass.
I'm going to do it so I can feel like a badass.
I was like, I have a cigarette, but it's not a cigarette.
I want one of those badass feeling CBD cigs, yo.
It tripped me out, though, because I didn't know much about CBD, and then like I went into a gas station one day, and there were just these jars of weed, and I'm like... Did they legalize this? Like,
when did this happen?
Holy hell!
What year did I wake up in?
Let me go home and get my credit card. I got some things to make up for. And they were like, no, it's CBD. But yeah, no. So you do the crystals, and have you like aligned your chakra or anything like that before?
I've been working on it. Yeah, I've been practicing Reiki, but I haven't been doing it in the past couple of weeks. So, but don't even ask. I don't even know.
One of the last times we spoke, you said you wanted to start learning how to meditate.
I've been doing that a lot.
It's for relaxing, isn't it?
Yes, except the last time I meditated, I almost threw up. And then I looked it up, and it says when you're opening up your third eye and your just like perception to the universe, it'll make you feel sick to your stomach.
Really?
Yeah. And I never throw up. And I like ran to the bathroom. I really thought I was going to be sick.
I never throw up unless I have a lot of liquor. I started to point to beer.
Right.
I haven't thrown up off of just beer. Like, I'm one of those too. I rarely throw up, and if I do, it's just because I've had way too many shots. So and it made you sick. Are you going to do it again?
Oh yeah, but that one was intense. It kind of scared me a lot. But also, what else? Oh, I've been communicating with my spirit guides recently, or like lately since I went to New Orleans, which was
that was like what, a month? That was for Joe Ellen's bachelorette party, right?
2 or 3 months ago. Yeah.
Did y'all go see like a medium?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, Justin. She was so spot on. I was the last one that she did. It was 4 of us that she did, and I was the last one, and she spent way more time with me because she was like, immediately was like, I can tell you're like me. You used to see stuff when you were younger. You might not remember, which I do. But, and then she just like told me all this. She was just like, don't open up your third eye yet because you're not ready to see the things that you're going to see and all this stuff. And then she was like,
was this before you had the last time and you threw up?
This was before that, yeah. Since then, I've been reading tarot cards, talking to my spirit guides, trying to open up my perception to the universe and bring in the universal life energy or whatever. And just like all this spiritual stuff, that people think is just not real. But when you do it, it blows your mind.
So your spirit guides. Now, these aren't like the kind of spirit guides where it's like, if you send us $29.99 per month, we'll be your spirit guides, right?
No,
like these are real
no.
spiritual. Who are they?
What's really crazy? So everybody has spirit guides, and everybody can connect with their spirit guides, and they are always there for you. All you gotta do is ask. So you ask them to give you signs, and the first one of mine was yellow flowers, and this was before spring. So I knew it wasn't like you would see yellow flowers everywhere. It
wasn't something common. It was very
right.
out
Not
of place.
then. Right now it is, but. And I was seeing yellow flowers everywhere. And then another thing is I kept asking her, I say her, I think it's 3 dudes.
Don't you assume their
no.
gender?
Let me tell you, I know there's one girl, and I'll tell you why. But anyways, I would ask them people's spirit animals. And mine is a squirrel. And I know...
That's very fitting, actually. Knowing you all my life, that's very fitting.
I agree. And so it's like when you first start talking to them, and you can hear them, because it's like you have to clear your mind, and it feels like you're having a thought, but they're actually speaking to you in your brain. So that sounds stupid, but
I know
in your brain waves.
Yeah. They say that's how extraterrestrials communicate, is through like telepathy. Like they put the thought, it's not even like they're talking in your mind. It's more like they put a thought into your mind, and like you understand it without hearing it.
That's because they're so much more advanced than us, and that is possible. But anyways, that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so sometimes you're like, okay, did I have that thought? Is that something that I made up in my head, or did I really hear them? So then you're like, will you give me a sign just so I know? So the same day that they told me squirrel, I was going down the road, and I was like, you know what? Just so I can be sure, can you show me a squirrel if that's really my spirit animal? And not a minute later, a squirrel walked across the road. It didn't run, and it was like way up, so I didn't run over it. But it just walked across the road, and it just sat there on the side of the road, like literally right after I asked. And the same thing has happened with Lalo. His is a pterodactyl. We heard somebody say pterodactyl on the TV later that night. Sonny's is a pelican, and we saw a pelican in a book later that day. Like, it's just
I hate pelicans. You know why I hate pelicans?
Why?
I consider myself to be at least somewhat of a masculine guy, but at the end of the day, I know the circle of life is what it is, but they eat animals whole, and it just sucks. Have you seen the video where that cute little duckling's like walking across, and then a pelican just eats this little innocent duckling? Right? You see what I'm saying?
It's like when the porpoises or whatever, the whales eat the baby seals or something. I don't know what it is.
Like, it's a circle of life. I know it's got to happen.
I can't watch it.
But still, Mr. Pelican, you're kind of a douche. Like, at least chew your food up so it doesn't feel pain. And this is coming from someone who hunts, and I know it's the circle of life. But anyway, she could be a cool pelican. Maybe she's a pelican that actually like chews her food before she swallows it. You don't think so?
She doesn't.
And Sunny, your daughter is now. Tell us a little bit about her. I knew Lalo. Your son when he was born, but like now Sunny, do you think that does she seem to have, like, I don't know, she's too young to ask. She doesn't,
you know what I mean? She doesn't seem
2.
like she sees anything in the house. Neither one of the kids do. I haven't said anything to Lalo about it because I know it'll freak him out. And plus, I think he's an empath. Well, I know he is. He can read my mind. And he
so is
and
an
he
empath
feels
like psychic? Like
kind of. I mean, there's different types, and empathic means that you can feel people's emotions. But I swear, can read my mind. He can read my mind. I'll be thinking something completely random. He'd be like, hey, Mom, let's do this thing. Or have you seen this thing around the house? And I'm like, how in the world did you know? It's insane. But anyways, no, they haven't. Neither one of my kids have seen anything in the house that I know of.
Empathic. I'm learning so much. Like, I've always found this stuff so fascinating. I mean, but it's like I'm learning so empathic. So what do you think that there's a term for you? Do you think that, like, you're maybe a doorway for...
I really think that Lalo and I are on the same spectrum, I guess. So, I guess empath, but I don't really know yet. I don't know.
Do you think perhaps, and like I said, the whole point, the reason why we want to do this is because I love to just explore options here, and it's never my ambition to shut someone's stuff down.
Go ahead, shut it down.
No. I'm not. It would be a pointless podcast for me to bring you on here to tell your story and then try to tell you why it's dumb. You know what I mean? Like that's just terrible interview skills. My question is, what do you think about it being less likely ghosts and spirits and more like interdimensional beings who can like travel through universes?
Totally. Yes. The only reason I think the ones in the house are ghosts is because people have heard and seen the same thing over and over again.
You said your husband's been hearing a lot here lately, right?
he stays up late at night, a lot of nights, working on the house, because that's why we're there, you know. And he said he can hear stuff in the attic all night. But, I mean, that could be critters, but the people that own the house say that the crib, which I've seen the crib, and it's terrifying, only because it's in an attic and it's supposedly haunted. It's not, other than that, it's not terrifying.
You need to send me pictures of this stuff, because our listeners
so
are going to be
scared.
like, we want to see the crib, we want to see that house. You got to send me pictures of this to put on the podcast.
I really need to set up a video camera in there, or
I'll
like
get
a
you
GoPro.
my GoPro, and you could set that up for a few hours.
It's just like going up there, I get like, my chest gets tight, I get anxious, and I don't know if it's because I know that it's haunted or that it's supposedly haunted, or if it's really energy up there that makes me feel that way. Let me tell you the creepiest thing that's happened to me since I've been there.
Let's hear it.
All right. So, when we first started moving in, we weren't living there yet. It was nighttime, and I didn't have the kids, and I didn't know at the time you weren't supposed to sage places at night. But it was the only time I didn't have the kids, so I did it. You know, I didn't really think about it. Jack was outside doing something. It was just me in the house. I went in there with my sage. I did the kitchen, the living room, and then I made my way to Layla's room. And at the time, the people that owned the house still had a lot of their furniture in there, and there was this old wardrobe. So I walked in there, and I saged one wall. I said, out with the negative, in with the positive. And as soon as I said that, the wardrobe door opened, and I looked at it. I said, holy fucking shit! And I ran out the house. And Jack was right outside the window. And he was on the phone. And he was looking at me like I was crazy. He was like, what happened? He's like trying to, I don't know. And I couldn't even talk. I was just like, I can't do it. No, I can't do it tonight. I can't do it. But I had to wait like 10 minutes before I went back in there.
I bet. So you saw the door just like swing open like as soon as you did that.
It didn't even like swing. It didn't open fiercely or anything, but it opened. And,
like something might have been leaving.
Right. Or like the little baby ghost was, you know, trying to freak me out.
That's freaky. So tell me, how do you sage a house? Like if you're trying to ward off spirits, what does it involve?
Well, there's a lot of different...
If I wanted to do it, how do I not set my house on fire with burning plants?
You know what? They say if there's no negative energy, that the sage won't keep burning. And I did have a hard time keeping mine burning. So I don't think there was any negative energy in there. But there's
I've had that problem with weed before.
There's just too much positive energy there. So,
I'm just kidding. Don't do drugs.
Weed's not a drug, but
until you're an adult.
Yeah.
JP's not here. Somebody has to take his drug jokes and keep them here.
I really
you know?
wish he was here.
I don't. To hell with him, and I hope he's listening. I love you, JP.
I love you.
I'm just playing. But to hell with you.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Supposedly you're supposed to work your way around this either clockwise or counterclockwise. I can't even remember.
Well, that's why the spirits haven't left. You're a terrible sager. You don't know which.
You're right. You're actually right. I really think that's what happened. I really think I stirred them up, because a couple days after that, Jack and I were there alone without the kids. We were painting the master bedroom, and he walked out of the master bedroom and went to the kitchen, which is like the furthest away you can get from the master bedroom through the house. So I'm just in there painting. We didn't have music. There's no connection there, internet, so we didn't have any music, so I could hear stuff.
Right.
So I'm painting, and I hear a woman's voice. So I thought the lady that owned the house had come, just see what we were doing. And I didn't think anything of it. And when I heard Jack walking back towards the room, I turned around so I could greet the lady, hey, what's up? And before I could see Jack, he goes, what? And I was like, what? And he was like, what did you say? And I was like, I didn't say anything, but I heard that too, because he was alone and there was nobody else in there. But I very distinctly heard a woman's voice, and he heard it too because he thought it was me.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty creepy. So it just sounded like a woman talking.
Yeah, I mean, like just having a conversation.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I have a theory. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so we've established that you might not be saging your house right.
Yeah.
You know how, in America, 2 fingers up means peace, and it's like, hey, man, peace. But, in Britain, it's like, I think it's Britain or Australia, somewhere across, 2 fingers up is basically like F you.
Yeah.
So maybe what's happening is instead of doing it in the right direction, if you do it clockwise, the ghosts are like, oh, they want us to leave. Cool, get your stuff, man. Let's go. We don't want to be a bother to anyone. And if you do it counterclockwise, it's like saying go fuck yourself. And they're just like, oh, hell, it is on now.
Well, when I was doing the saging, I was talking to the spirits saying, if you're not a negative energy, you can stay. We can coexist. It's fine. We won't bother you. You don't bother us.
Right.
So that's why I feel like there's still spirits in there. And supposedly there is like a little baby ghost in there. Not a baby, but like a toddler. So I feel like a lot of this stuff, if that is true, is just the toddler playing around.
Do we know how this toddler died?
No, but oh, God.
That's my dog upstairs.
That scared me.
Perfect setting. Got the lights low too.
So
do you want another beer? Keep talking.
I'm good. Beer. So I don't know how this child died, but this lady, the lady that owns the house, was telling me this when we were talking about moving in. She said that this other lady came from Texas to look at the house for whatever reason, and this was like a while ago. And she said the lady didn't know anything about the history of the house, hadn't heard nothing about it. They didn't tell her anything about it. But as soon as she walked in, she said a 2-year-old little girl died here. And that was that. So
that's freaky.
And plus there's that crib up there. And plus the lady that owns the house, she said there's old-timey kid toys up there, or like baby toys. And every time she goes up there, they're moved. But we haven't seen them up there yet. But I've only been up there twice.
So you've probably, like, living there this long, because have you been there a year yet? Has it been a year?
No.
How long has it been, you think? Like 6 months, 7 months?
Something like that, yeah.
That's been
probably not even that long.
So you've kind of gotten used to this now? Like, I mean, like, little stuff happens?
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly seeing stuff out of the corner of our eyes, seeing orbs of light, just little things like that don't really freak me out anymore. Mm-hmm. But the other night, I was laying in bed with my daughter, and I wasn't asleep yet. I was just laying there. My eyes were closed, but I was not even close to being asleep. And I had my daughter, like, pretty much I had her, like, in a bear hug. You know, she wasn't moving. And I felt the blanket on my arm, like, the opposite arm from her, was moving. And so I looked at her to see if maybe her legs or anything was moving. Nothing was even close to being over there. She hadn't moved. She was dead asleep. But something pulled the blanket up off of my arm. And that's another really freaky thing that happened recently. But other than, like, those big things, we see stuff all the time out of the corner of our eye.
And see, that's the thing. I've got a book over there that I say over there like the listeners are here. Over there, in my basement, one side is kind of like the man cave, where it's like basically a bar, and like I've got everything from like my favorite movies to sports teams, yada yada. And then on the other side, it's kind of like more like a library, I guess, like comics and books. But over there on the book side, I actually have a book where a guy talks about like these shadow people.
Yeah.
And talks about how, you know, that's commonly what you're seeing in the corner of your eye. But the thing is, a lot of times their presence is not positive. A lot of times it's negative, and what it is they feed off of the negative energy. It's almost like they're from another dimension, and our energy makes them stronger, or whatever. Which in your case, they don't sound to be like they're bad, but a lot of times that's why they're associated or show up at really bad or negative times, because they're just kind of like mosquitoes or ticks. That is so just scary.
I don't even want. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I've been just picture this. When I bought this house that we're in now, there was no power, you know, like the people that moved out cut the power or whatever, and alone now. All right, so you see, I know again the listeners can't see, just bear with me, use your imagination. I have a shelf, a little glass thing with a lot of Funko Pops in it. So see that gray thing over there, that gray thing with all the Funkos in it?
Sure.
Under the posters?
Yeah.
Okay, that was like extremely purple when I got it.
Okay.
Actually, it's my girlfriend's, and she won't do nothing with it. Well, obviously it's my man cave. I can't have so much purple down here.
Now.
But and when I say purple, like I mean it was like scuffed up. So I was like, I need to at least paint it. I was down here with no power, with a flashlight on my mouth or like a headlamp, painting that shelf alone in this basement.
Why?
Just because I wanted to get it done before I went. Because I lived
in the basement.
Yeah, because that's where it was going to go. Yeah. Because I wanted to get back. I lived at the time, I lived like 30, 45 minutes from here. So I wanted to get that done before I went home. So, yeah, I was in this basement alone, like painting and stuff completely by myself.
No,
and I think about it
you're
now.
You're just asking for weird shit to happen to you.
Oh, I totally expected to get axe murdered. Like
Why
the whole time
wouldn't
I'm
you
painting.
just go outside?
Like, it won't no lighter out there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be in a basement.
But there's animals out there.
They're less scary than ghosts.
I've had nothing really scary happen in here. One time the TV was on. I will say that. But Caitlin and I, see how my clock is really wrong right there?
Yeah.
Because we had a power blink earlier.
Uh-huh.
And at one point, it has kicked on the TV, which is weird. But it always happens with a power blink. But this house, luckily, nothing freaky.
You know what? Speaking of, I think when I did the staging, we weren't living there yet, so we were still living in our little trailer. I think I took something home with us to the trailer. Because after I did that, weird stuff started happening in the trailer.
So you think it followed you?
Yeah, and one of the things was, it was the middle of the night, and in the kitchen, the light switch turned off the microwave. And if the light is on in the kitchen, it's super bright in our bedroom, so I always make sure I cut it off. In the middle of the night, I heard the microwave beep. And the next morning, I was like, Jack, you woke Sonny up last night when you blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, I heard that too, but it wasn't me. And that's
got to make your blood like goosebumps when you hear that.
He didn't turn the light on, so it wasn't, that's not what it was. And we don't know what happened, but it was definitely the microwave. But if the light switch is not on, the microwave, it doesn't have power, but whatever. And then another night, I went to the bathroom. And when I got back, my pillows were in a different position.
I think I remember you telling me about that. But was Jack in the bed at that point?
No, ever since I had Sonny, he sleeps on the couch because she sleeps with me because I breastfed for 2 years. We're just in a habit now. But that was when she was, still little.
He still sleeps on the couch?
Yeah, but he actually works a whole lot during the night anyway, and I can't sleep with him. He's too...
Does he move around a lot?
Yeah, it's terrible.
See, my girlfriend says I just put off a lot of heat, and that's
he does that too. It must be a man thing.
Furnace, maybe, because I'm so manly.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
But yeah, I don't know. I do the same thing, but So so your pillows were moved, and was Sunny in the bed?
Yep, just her, and she was too little to move the pillows.
To move pillows. I don't know, man. I mean,
it freaked me out. It stopped me in my tracks. When I walked into the room, I stopped and I stared for forever.
Like she's still there right now staring at it, and all this is just happening in her brain.
I was just like, did that really happen? Or am I just asleep right now? Am I dreaming? I didn't know. It freaked me out.
Yeah, no kidding. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just weird how some people have this stuff happen all the time to them. I wonder if, I always wonder what it's like to be, if there's a spirit realm or other dimensions or whatever, what they see, you know what I mean? Are they looking at us through an opaque glass?
Yeah.
And, people like yourself, maybe
making fun of us they don't know anything.
Listen to them, they're getting this shit all wrong. Sage? What the hell is that? Light up some weed or something, man, damn. But, I wonder if maybe certain people like yourself who maybe, could have some kind of ability. Maybe you're brighter than other people to them, and they're drawn to you because of that.
Yeah, that is true. I thought you meant brighter like smart.
No, I mean, I think you're smart, but I mean, I wonder if to them just you stand out of...
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
all about
why
the
all
energy,
kind of,
man. It's the energy. Everybody has energy, and everybody vibrates at a different frequency, and it just
Well, I mean, that's kind of science. I mean, what is it? I don't know if it's string theory or not, but I know, some physicists think that we are vibrations and we're frequencies, and we vibrate on different levels, and that's how, how you have radio stations on top of each other. That's how we can exist with all these parallel dimensions, because we're all right there together, but we're on different frequencies. Right. And so I wonder if you're static, you and people like yourself are static, or some kind of sound that they. You know what I mean? I'm speaking metaphorically here, but that they're drawn to.
I think so. I was reading this book by Julie Rieger called The Ghost Photographer. Oh my gosh. If you haven't read that, please read it. It is so good. But anyways, she was talking about how her girlfriend was the most bubbly person ever, but dark spirits would follow her because they're drawn to the light. That's basically what you're saying now.
Right, yeah, that's so wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's and you're, Jessi's, for those of you who can't tell already, 34 minutes into this, is very bubbly and very positive, so maybe that is something that draws. But you said, though, you've been fortunate, nothing that's really come to you has seemed sinister or evil.
No, but I also feel like that has a lot to do with my guardian angels or my spirit guides or whatever.
So spirit guides are basically like guardian angels.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Basically, I don't know if there's a difference, but I think people use the terms interchangeably from what I've read on the interweb.
Probably differs depending on your spirituality or your religion.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Christians might interpret them as guardian angels.
I have to get back to how I know that one of my spirit guides is a girl.
Oh,
and
yeah. You didn't tell us that.
This is so freaking crazy that it still blows my mind. So you know how I was saying, I can talk to them, it comes to me like a thought, and sometimes I don't know if I thought of it or if they said it, and it's just kind of hard to tell. One day I was in the shower, and I just like to talk to them and have fun because they like to play games. So, like showing you signs and stuff. So I asked them how many were there. They said 5. I asked them what their names were, which I can't remember all their names right now, but one of them was for sure Sarah.
Huh.
And like, I don't know if there's any way of me knowing if that was a thought or not. So I just, remembered it at the point, and that was that. It was fun. Well, 3 weeks later or something like that, I go into the Dollar General next to my house, and I see a girl there that I've known forever, but we hardly ever talk, And she was talking to we stopped and we talked forever. And then we got on the subject of spirit guides and things, and she's really into that stuff too. So,
do I know this, Sarah?
My spirit guide?
Not your spirit. Well, I mean, as long as I've known you, I probably know her too. But I'm talking about the girl that you saw in the store.
No, her name is not Sarah. The girl I saw in the store is Jennifer Kirby.
Oh, I don't know her.
Okay, well, so I'm trying to remember how the conversation went, but all in all, we got to talking about the spirit guides, whatever. We had a long conversation. The next day, I didn't tell her I had asked the names. I didn't tell her all that. She didn't know about that. The next day, she messaged me and was like, hey, I just drove by your house, and one of my spirit guides told me that they're your spirit guide too. And like, our families were really good friends, so that makes sense, I guess. I don't know how that works. But, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. What, do you know who it was? And she was like, it was my grandmother. And I was like, what is her name? And I still at this point had not told her that I knew my spirit guides' names. She was like, her name was Frances or something. No. She said she went by Frances, but her real name was Sarah.
What?
I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, there's no way that's happening. There's no way I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You open up your mind, and this stuff will blow you away.
It's like, your granny's creeping on me in the shower.
No, you can actually tell them not to watch you in the shower.
Well, it's a really cool book in all seriousness. I think I've told you about it before. It's a really big book, and it with 2 kids, I know it's probably hard for you to like sit and read
it
for
is,
a long
but
period of time.
I make the time.
George Norrie's Talking to the Dead.
Okay.
I promise you'll love that book.
I'm getting that.
George Norrie does like a late night coast to coast show where he pretty much is like I am. He never says what he believes in, but he has guests. Some talk about aliens, some talk about demons.
Yeah.
And he just, like myself, is open to all of it. Like, he just wants to hear what people have to say. And he wrote a book, and basically, like, it goes by accounts of people on his show and all of that. But, like, it gets so into it. Like, the first 50 pages are a little slow, and I was like, this is not going to be good. By, like, page 200, I could not stop reading. Because he talks about how, like, certain people have been like, if I die, I'm going to go see so-and-so, and I'm going to give them a sign. And, like, they don't tell that person that. They tell other people that, or they write it down. And then, like, 2 days after they die, that person is like, I had the weirdest dream last night, and it's something relevant, And I know they say dreams, you can't see the face of anyone, and dreams are very limited. But, I mean, like, some stuff happens in dreams, and I'm like, I've never seen that face before. I don't care what the books say.
Yeah.
But his book actually, and, like, it gets into detail. Like, people have been hypnotized, and they talk about, like, 7 tiers of death, and, like, the first tier or 2 are, like, what we would describe as, hell. And it's not so much that you're being tortured or punished for sins. More or less, it's just, like, anguish and misery. And then, like, the certain point, you get to what we would call heaven, which is not the final destination, but it's like It's peaceful. People actually, he said in there, people have sex, but it's not like freaky human sex. It's like a spiritual kind of sex thing. And then if you decide at some point that you want to move past that or grow as a spirit, then there's like 3 or 4 levels of. At one point, it's reincarnation. Like you're willing to give up all these pleasures and say, I want to try to go through life again to better myself as a soul. And then eventually you get to the point where you like become one with the universe or something. But you love that book. Like, I mean, and it covers.
I'm loving it already.
You should get it. George Norrie's Talking with the Dead. Actually, if I still have it over there, you could borrow it. But it is so good.
This is the kind of stuff that makes me not scared of death.
Right.
I'm really excited about what comes after.
But you don't want to die right now.
No.
But she's just saying, when it does happen, it's going to be an adventure.
That's like, I don't want to miss out on my kids' lives, but that's the only thing that I really live for right now. So I'm not scared to die, and that's why I've
always said and it's weird, I've never really had, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I say I'm not really scared of death, but you hold me underwater, I'm going to freak out. And
obviously.
I just don't want to go that way.
No, I'm afraid of the ways of dying. I don't want to go through that. But like, after.
Because I tell people, I'm like, well, if there is something, here's to a new adventure. And if it's not, I won't know.
It's like
you know
Peter
what I mean?
Pan says, to die would be an awfully great adventure or something like that.
That's beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
Was that like in the original Peter Pan?
No, it's in Hook. Is it? No. It's not Hook. It's in Peter Pan. It's called Peter Pan, but.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about because that was that newer movie, wasn't it? Like
it
where they're in the
newer,
orphanage and then they get on the flying ship or whatever.
I can't remember.
That was a pretty good movie.
I've watched that movie a lot. You think I would? No, they're not in the orphanage. I don't think.
There was some Peter Pan movie that came out a few years ago where like they're in the orphanage and the ship's flying over, I think, and then they get on the ship.
I don't think I saw that.
That was pretty good. What was that called? I think that was called Pan.
Yeah.
Maybe is what I'm thinking of.
I don't think I saw that.
That was pretty good. I always loved The Hook. Did you watch the original Hook?
Like with Robin
I watched
Williams? That a lot, yeah.
Oh my God.
That's one of my favorite movies. Jinx.
Pound it. One of my favorites. The Lost Boys. Rufio.
I love Rufio. I was Rufio for Halloween 2
Were
years
you?
ago, yeah.
That's
pretty
awesome.
Epic. You know what I did though? I went to KFC and ate a whole bucket of chicken. So I got chicken bones to make my jewelry out of.
No shit.
I did.
So did you eat the chicken yourself?
I had a friend come with me to eat it, but we ate it all.
You're like, I put so much effort into this costume.
Yeah, I did. It was the only way I could think of to get chicken bones or any kind of bones.
Do you like KFC chicken?
No.
What?
I don't.
My girlfriend hates KFC. Like,
no. It's not that I don't like it, but it's probably behind Long John Silver's. It's like the last place I would stop to eat.
So you really hate Long John Silver's?
Oh yeah, because I hate fish.
Side note: more ghost stuff coming. But I've just got to go into this. So you don't like any kind of fish at all?
I like salmon. Recently, I've been eating that, and I like tuna out of the can.
I didn't think I liked fish when I was younger, but as I got older, I started trying. Like, I actually like fried catfish. I like salmon. I figured does Jack fish any?
And I love to fish, but I don't like to eat the fish.
Oh man, does Jack cook any fish or anything?
Yeah,
Jack just seems like the kind of guy that would probably.
Yeah,
cook,
I mean, I used to eat fish a lot when I was little, but it got to the point where it made my stomach hurt every single time I ate it. So I think that's why I didn't like it so much then. But I think I'm coming around to it. But I just like the fishy. I don't like the fishy taste. And
so you probably don't like Long John Silver's fish tacos.
No.
That sucks. Like,
I don't know because I've never had it, but
it's so weird how conversations come around full circle. Because, like, what are the odds that we would sit here and talk about Long John Silver tonight when, in fact, like last night or either the night before, my girlfriend and I were upstairs and we started having a conversation about Long John Silver's.
Hey, synchronicities, man.
I mean, that's so crazy how that lines up. But I mean, like, we were talking about how she wanted to try their fish tacos, and I said like 5-6 years ago they were delicious. Now, last time I had them, they were awful. But it's just so weird because
that is weird.
What's your favorite place for chicken? And then we'll go back to ghosts.
Bojangles.
Bojangles?
Yeah.
I like some Bojangles chicken.
I love me some Bojangles, but it's just the seasoning. I put the seasoning on it.
I put that on everything. But so, I don't know, man. So, I mean, it's wild that... So, do you think that there could be some... Do you think maybe practicing all of the meditation and the positive energy you try to put out, being you kind of are ahead of the curve, where some people are like, why is this weird stuff happening? And they freak out, and that negativity might feed into... Do you think ghosts have to get stronger?
I don't know.
Do you think like that if you get scared and they feed off of the negative energy? I think they do.
I think some of them, I think there's so many different ones, but I do think some of them feed off of the fear. Like the Hat Man.
Oh, yeah.
He feeds off of fear.
I just wonder, what's the... I don't know, I wonder what we look like to them. You know what I mean? Like, are they seeing us on a board? Would they be seeing us like a movie?
Or is it like that one movie? What was that movie? The one where they thought they were being haunted, but they were actually the ghost.
Oh, you're talking about the Nicole Kidman movie?
Yes.
God, that was a.
Is it like that?
Called? Right, like
The Others.
That's it. The Others. Did you ever see the Matthew McConaughey movie? I know it's long and boring, but Interstellar.
No.
Slight spoilers. The movie came out like a long time ago, so you don't really care if I spoil it, right?
No, because I probably will never watch it.
It's very long and drawn out, yeah, and especially with 2 kids, I'm sure if it wasn't like captivating, it'd just get to the point where you're like, I haven't watched the last 30 minutes. But basically, he goes into a black hole in space because like Earth is dying and all of that. And what's crazy is like when he goes in the black hole, he kind of travels back through time because in the black hole, time is not like linear. Like he can see different points of time. And there's like this membrane between him. So like in the beginning of the movie, his daughter is in her room and like a book falls off the shelf. And like she picks it up and then he comes in. Well, like you find out that's him like trying to make contact with her. I think she even said something about like a ghost. And it wasn't a supernatural movie at all. But she said something about her ghost or whatever. And he's like, yeah, whatever. But it's like him trying to make contact. But he's held back by like this membrane. Yeah. And I wonder like, is that how they see us?
You know what? When I die, if you're still alive, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you in your dream how I see y'all.
I mean, if you just want to like materialize and be like, don't freak out. It's like, oh, sweet. That is awesome.
That would freak you out, though. There's no way.
A little bit, but once I saw it was you, I wouldn't be freaked out because, I mean, I've never known you to be like a, like evil or bad person. Now, if it was somebody I had problems with and they died and they materialized, I'm like, oh, my God, they're coming back. With you, I just be like, oh, my God, it's Jessi. What up? You want one of those orange beers I gave you the other time? But,
and then it just pours right through me onto the floor, and you're like,
I'd be like, well, that's not flattering at all. Kind of like on Casper where they try to eat.
Exactly,
and the food just goes right down. But so, like, I wonder, I don't know, like, where was I going with that? It was something about ghosts that, damn it.
How they see us in a membrane.
Like, yeah, like, I wonder what they have to gain from it. Like, do we just entertain them? Because, have you watched The Haunting of Hill House or Hill House Haunting?
No, I've not watched any movie that has the word haunting in it.
Well, it's a show, for one. Two,
see?
There are some freaky ass parts in that and I say freaky, keep in mind, I say freaky and I will stay up. My girlfriend always gives me, she's like, why do you watch that crap? I'll stay up all night by myself watching horror movies.
You're insane.
Just because I've seen so many now, you get desensitized to them after a while. You're like, oh, a little, like a jump scare.
Every horror movie or anything I watch gives me something else to be scared of in the dark.
Well, so I love them, but like I was watching that show and like it's so much more than a ghost show though. Like it actually has, like it's written very well. There's kind of a big twist. It will make you want to cry 2 or 3 times, but like one of the ghosts says that. She's like, I used to think time was like a straight line.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it kind of just falls around you like drops of rain.
What?
Like it's not
that makes so much sense.
What you think it is.
It makes you wonder, the people that read this stuff, they know more than we do.
Right.
It's like, because a lot of that makes so much sense. Or does it only make sense because they said it? And we're like,
well, I think you're a very open person, so to you that makes sense because but people with open minds are the ones that discover how to like create, atom bombs.
That's
and like
true.
Build skyscrapers and
that
go
will
to
not
space.
Be me.
People,
I'll just continue talking to my spirit guides. We'll leave it at that.
People with open minds are so. I mean, while I like with things like ghosts and all that, I try to rationalize. Like I know one night I woke up because I heard, and Caitlin heard it too. We just heard like this slam at the front of the house. And like I know that like I woke up and I saw all the animals looking like at the door because like the dog was at my feet and this is before we had a baby and the 2 cats one cat was at my feet, one cat.
You mean the baby wasn't up looking at the door?
Oh my God, now that would freak me out. Which hell, she's almost sitting up on her own at a month and a half, so I wouldn't be shocked. That baby's a beast. Oh yeah, she can roll over, she can lift her head up. She's a beast. But like all 3 animals were looking at the door, and I remember I asked Caitlin, I said, did you hear anything just now? She said, yes. Sounded like somebody slammed on the door. But, after I woke up and put the gun back in the cabinet, I was like, you know what? That probably was something very, like the wind could have gusted, because we have a screen door that doesn't latch right. The wind could have gusted and opened the door and shut it back. But, life's a lot funner when you have a very open mind, I think.
I think so, too. I totally agree with that, 100%.
You see more, you find more interesting than just, like with that story right there, it's almost funner to be like, maybe it was a ghost.
Right.
And then it just opens so many more thoughts than, Well, it was just the wind. Oh,
I
that's
think
that.
having an open mind definitely makes your life more exciting.
I think everyone should open their mind.
I think, yeah.
And their chakras.
And their...
How many chakras do we have?
7, I think.
Why did you look down? Were you like counting them?
Yeah, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So what do they stand for? Like each one
This
operate?
one's your crown chakra. Mm-hmm. So when that opens up, that's when all the spiritual stuff happens.
At the top of your head.
Yes. Your third eye, which I feel like a lot of people know about that. When you open your third eye, you see things that you wouldn't, that will blow your mind, first of all. And it's like, that's another spiritual thing. Your throat chakra is about communication. Your heart chakra is about, like, love, I think, or whatever. There's another one that's like love. I can't remember.
You say love, I think, and it's really like about tacos or something.
It might be. I don't know. I mean, I could have all this all wrong, but I'm actually reading a book on Reiki, so that has to do with your chakras too, but it doesn't go into it that much. So that's just basically my... Yeah. I have a book on chakras, but I didn't really get into it when I bought it.
Keep in mind, Jessi has 2 children, one of which is 2 years old. So I know that, like, getting the time to, like, just sit down for a while and read a book is probably not
It's difficult, and I've been trying to learn to do tarot cards, and I'm really good at it if I have the book with me. Right. I'm not, like, I don't have everything memorized, and at this point in my life, I'm like, do I even have enough brain function to remember all of this? It's 70-something cards, I think. See, I can't remember how many cards it is. 78, I think.
I feel like we get smarter as we get older. Like,
no,
I mean, I know we get wiser from experience, but like, I learn things faster than I used to, and it might have been because as a kid I had really bad ADD.
Maybe.
And like, it's still there, but it's subsided some as an adult, so maybe that's why. But I feel like, but you also, again, you have 2 kids, so your brain is not.
It's fried.
Your brain is not always just open and thinking. I mean, there's times where you might be like thinking of chakras or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're like, Lalo, get off that.
Exactly.
Get your sister. What are you doing? And then you lose.
Life.
So it's not so much you can't remember. It's that you might be thinking of it or reading it, and then something big, just happens and you just lose it.
Yeah, you're right. I can't focus on one thing at a time because I have 1,000 other things going on around me.
Yeah.
But I'm trying. I'm really trying. I'm trying. Reading tarot is so much fun.
Well, I wish I would have thought about that. I would have told you to bring your tarot cards.
I have them. I brought them.
Did you?
Yeah.
You did, really?
I did. They're not with me they're in the car.
Oh my gosh. So can we get those and you read does it tell you my fortune or what does it do?
Okay, well, you can see like the future, but the thing is that the cards tell you what could happen, but you're still in control of what happens. So if you don't like what they say, you change it.
Right.
So it just tells you what could happen if you keep on your path, or what could happen if you do this and that. Or you can ask it like dates of something. Like,
right.
I asked when my sister-in-law was going to have... No, I asked for a date that would be... I can't think of the word. A special, but that's not the word I used. For her baby that she was pregnant with. It gave me 2 dates. One of them was the 13th. No, the 12th. And the other one was the 16th. I mean, she ended up going into labor on the 12th. And had him on the 13th.
Oh, wow.
So, but no, I don't know if I'm not that good. I'm not good enough to do it on this because I would have to like lay it out and then look up the meaning of it.
All right, so tell me, what we'll do is we'll let you practice that, and then we'll have you return to the podcast.
Okay.
And then you can do it when you're fluent at it.
Got it.
So, all right, so what, give me like a little background here. Like, what do tarot cards, I mean, do you shuffle them and you just see what?
Yeah.
You do 5 of them? Is that how it works?
No, you can do anything you want. They have different spreads you can do. You can make up your own spread. You could be like, this one represents the future, this one represents the present, this one represents the past, or this one tells you what you're doing wrong, or like, what you're doing too much of, what you need to do more of.
Right.
Just like, it can be anything. You look it up on Pinterest. They have spreads all day tell you anything. They have a WTF spread, and that's what tells you what's going on with your life. Like, why can't
what's the future? That's what that stands for, right?
Or like, get your shit together spread. I like those. They're fun. I want you to work on that, and then I want you to come back. Maybe we'll do that because this is going to be like a 5 or 6 part series. We've got, Matt Crowder, don't you? Uh-huh. We've got him on the next one. He's got a lot of ghost experience. Actually, one of our good friends and longtime listener, Dan Ashdown in England, is going to be on one of them as well. He said he's had a lot of really
bizarre experiences. And we're like, that's what we want. People who are open to something like this, and we just want to hear their stories.
And people that have cool accents. Oh, speaking of cool accents, Justin said that a lot of people from other countries listen to this and they like his accent, but I just want to say before anybody says they like my accent, I like your accent more.
Oh no, I agree 100%. Yeah, it is so bizarre because because I'm used to people going, "You sound like such a redneck."
I know.
But then people from other countries, like we've had people in New Zealand and in Britain and other places go, "I love you in JP's accent." Like they think that JP and I just have and I'm like, and I'm sure they know it sounds super Southern and country, but they like it. And I'm like, that's
charming.
So funny because Southern people, most of us would love to have like a British accent.
I know, and I cringe when I hear myself on like the radio. Do you ever get used to that?
No.
You don't?
I've been doing it for over a decade.
I wonder, because every time I hear myself on the commercials, I cringe. I'm just like...
I hear you all the time.
Oh, you know what the worst thing is? Has this ever happened to you? You'll be driving in the car listening to that station that you're on.
Right.
That one station. And,
Jessi's on the radio, by the way. We hadn't said that.
Bit.
She does some voice work for me. But go ahead.
And you'll be like fighting with Caitlin or something, and then you come on the radio and you just can't. It's just too much. You can't listen to yourself on the radio while you're having a fight with your spouse or your significant other or whatever.
So you and Jack like fighting going down the road?
It happens a lot.
Shut up.
We'll be arguing. No, and it's just like, then I come on and I'm just like, really?
The worst is when I'm in the store. Like the station Jessi does voice work for that I do the afternoon show, and Jessi's like the voice of these stations. And what's funny is like they're played a lot here in like local like places like Subway and Dollar General and all those places.
I heard myself in Subway earlier.
And you walk in and you're shopping, and then you come on the air and you say something, and then people are beside you, and it's not like the movies. Nobody looks at you and goes, "Is that you?"
Right.
But you're doing the opposite. I've been at the register before, and I always remember on Family Guy when Brian was on the radio, and the guy was like, "I know that voice. You're on the radio." So like they'll ring me up and I'll come on the radio and I'll be like, they're like, "You want to pay with debit card or cash?" "That'll be cash, please." And then they're just like, "Okay." And I'm thinking like, it's me.
I know.
Acknowledge me. Validate my need for approval.
It's funny because I think people are just hesitant to even ask, because I've had people that I've known forever waited so long to be like, "Hey, is that you on the radio? I've been hearing it for a long time, and I've been meaning to ask, but I thought it was weird."
It's so funny because one of my bosses he thought you were somebody else. So at one of our stations, we have these things where like the person comes on and says the title of the song after the song ends. I don't like that. I think it's terrible practice, but whatever. But for the longest time, when I would say, "I want to get Jessi to voice this or whatever," this guy thought that that's the girl I was talking about. And he just was dogging you. He was like, now the owner wants to get Jessi to voice LUS. And I'm like, "Why do you not like her voice so much?" And he's like, "It's awful."
Aww.
But then finally he comes up to me and said, "Hold on a minute. Jessi's not the girl that says the name at the end of the songs." And I said, "No, she's the one that does like the promos and the, your favorites from the," and he's like, "I feel like an asshole. I thought that,
so
okay,
funny,
no,
though.
that girl sounds great. I thought you meant the very boring girl that gives the song titles."
I love that story.
So, she's like, I love finding out that he loves me.
Well, it's just so funny because
I mean, he was dogging you. I was defending your honor big time
thank
because
you.
he's
You're
just
such a
like,
good friend.
well, I'm like, she sounds good. Like, I don't. Why do you think she sucks so bad? I mean, yeah, she hasn't done radio much.
Terrible accent. What were you thinking?
Well, one of them's a country station. Isn't that what you want? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I think I was less country on that one.
You didn't used to talk as country as you do now. Like
No,
you did
I
when you
don't.
lived around here when we were all teenagers and hung out, and then when you went off and you moved away.
I don't know. That's so weird. I feel like every time I move somewhere, the accent that I'm around picks up in me. If that makes any sense. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I
pick
catch
up
on,
where you're at,
I can't stay true to my roots, I guess.
You can't. Well, I mean, like I had gotten at one point to where I really did not have hardly any country accent when I first got into radio, because they were like really big on weeding it out. They were like, "All right, no more 5s and 9s.
Five.
Like, you need to say it's 5 o'clock and blah 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 blah."
I think you got on me about that when I was saying 90s.
Yeah, 90s.
90s.
I'm like, it is a country station. It's not a redneck station. So let's keep it at 90s.
90s.
But now mine started coming back the more I've just been here and not gone and done anything. But
Well, I'll come back after I move to the beach and be like, "What's up, bruh?"
Yeah, what's up?
hang
So like my
today,
chakra,
bruh.
I was totally saging on the surfboard.
With
and
my CBD gummy cigs.
I was like making love to my chakra, and like, I'm like, oh my God, you've been there for a week, and it's just Virginia Beach.
They all talk the same there.
But I appreciate you coming by so much.
Finally,
I'm glad
so
you could
glad
make it
I made it.
to the man cave.
Yeah,
Well,
the non-man cave that says man cave.
Maybe we'll start doing a supernatural podcast, and JP can just stay up there since he won't come down, and maybe because we wanted to do this to be a mini series because right now we have so many ongoing series. The thought of like adding a new series to the podcast and having to book guests and maintain that.
You got this.
I was like, man. That would be a pain in the butt because JP doesn't have any ghost stories or none of that stuff really.
But that's what makes it so awesome. I really wish he was here to hear his input.
Oh yeah,
that would be funny.
But which I'm sure we can work something out. But next time we can like call.
Can we have him
put him on
commentary this?
Yeah, like let him listen to this and give his speculation.
Just stop him and be like, so hold on there, sister.
Well, JP, I try. One thing that I try to be more open as far as to not shut nobody's dreams down. Whereas JP just doesn't have any problem going.
I know.
That won't no ghost, baby. That was a draft that opened that drawer, or that wardrobe. But no, maybe we'll. Who knows? Maybe we'll try to get something going.
Mm-hmm.
But like some kind of supernatural ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put you in charge of it.
Well, I don't plan on leaving this house anytime soon, so I'm sure I'll have more stories. So.
Well, and we've talked about with this channel, maybe like branching out, like not even necessarily being in all of the podcasts, but like having people do other podcasts and kind of blanket them under this, just kind of create like a podcasting network. So
dude,
maybe down the road we can start some supernatural.
You're looking at some big stuff there.
Oh yeah, we're working on it, but we've stayed with it pretty good. But I thank you so much for telling us your stories. If you have any updates, maybe we'll check back in with you in a month or so.
Well, I do have some other things I didn't tell you about, so there's more.
There's more?
Yeah.
Well, now I want to hear the more. But what time is it? Oh, it's 8. What time do you have to get back to your babies?
Whenever. Before
9. So before 9. Okay. Before we do this, before we close out. Let me get one more thing.
One more,
because I know I got a little off track.
Okay, well,
there.
I'll tell you about the pictures in the fire, because you brought that up, and I totally forgot about it, and I'll see if I can find the pictures so you can post them. But we have a fireplace in our bedroom, and at nighttime in the winter, I would sit there and I would take pictures of the fire, and I would find ghost faces in the fire. And this one, I found a cat face, and it was a legit cat face. And I posted them, and people were like, no way, that's crazy, But I don't know where they are now. They're not on my phone.
The ghosts deleted them.
They might have.
Now, to play, most people will be like, not to play devil's advocate. I'm going to use JP as a devil, so not to play JP's advocate. But now with stuff in the fire, like, is there anything, do you think it's more than just, because, when you got flames dancing around, they're going to form all kinds of weird shapes and stuff.
That is true.
But are there some that to you, like knowing that, chance is chance, sometimes really bizarre chance things happen, but do you think there's some that you have seen that are just too detailed to be chance?
The cat face is the one for me that I'm like, that is a freaking cat face. It's a cat face. I gotta find it. I know I have them somewhere.
Well, I know cats are very have for the longest time been associated with the supernatural. So maybe there's something
that too.
To
well, the reason I even started doing it in the first place is because the same book, The Ghost Photographer, that's how she started. She took a picture and there was a ghost in the picture, and then she started taking pictures in sage smoke, and she could find ghosts in all of these pictures, and so I started doing it in the fire.
I want somebody to go with me to haunted locations.
Me.
Would you do it though?
Yeah. Say yes now.
Well, I was gonna say you love this stuff, but you get freaked out because most of the time you deal with friendly spirits. But I mean, I'm talking like I want to go to old asylums.
The only thing about it is I'm just so scared that something negative is going to attach itself to me. That's the only thing that freaks me out. That's why I don't mess with Ouija boards or anything like that.
That was my thing too. Like, I mean, when I was saying, you were saying that you have to like let your spirit guides know that you want to establish contact.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, but if there's a spirit world out there, what's not to stop some malevolent force from
I think about that too.
intercepting those messages?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the stories, they tend to start off very innocent, and they're talking just like a friendly spirit, but then it starts to get more and more, just sinister.
My thing is, I'm Christian, so every time, well, almost every time, I pray all the time to keep me safe, to keep negative energies out, and I put a protective light ring around me. It's just so many things you can say to visualize, and it just kind of is just a thing, and it
That's
happens.
cool. So it's like mental projection.
Right.
So you're saying this so that your mind will kind of take that and actually think it, make it real.
Plus, your spirit guides are there to protect you anyway, so hopefully your spirit guides are not evil anyways, and it's when you start dabbling in other things that they can't protect you from everything. Like
dark magic?
Right. If you open up a portal, I mean, they can't keep that bad stuff out.
Man, there are so many things that I've always, since we've known each other, I love reading stuff about ghosts and all of that, and I just find it fascinating.
And you love telling me about it and freaking me out.
Right, I was going to say, have you heard of skinwalkers?
Ugh, no, why? That doesn't even sound like anything I want to hear of.
Oh, it's freaky, man.
Are you going to tell me? I'm
going to tell you.
Right now.
All right, so I'm going to just give you a little rundown, and then we'll let you go. But so skinwalkers are supposedly, and I mean, now they have accounts of these from all over the world. Some people would call them jinns, some people would call them demons. But in some Native American cultures, I think it's Navajo, the skinwalker is...
Yes.
Have you heard of them?
I've read about this.
They take people's forms or animals' forms.
Yes.
But I've read even somewhere that they are shaman. When you said dabble in that kind of stuff, that's what made me think. They're actually shaman who have pretty much given up their souls, and they've... And actually, the reason why Navajo don't like to talk about them is because supposedly talking about them brings their attention. And I've been talking about them a lot here in the last 2 weeks.
What? Why would you even bring that up? Oh my gosh!
Because I don't think they're real.
I need to meditate and talk to my spirit guides when we're done with this.
I've always been into creative writing, so I think that's half of why. Even though I don't really know if I believe in anything like supernatural, I find it so fascinating because it's just something. It's like it's still just. It's like I've told JP many times, I'm not necessarily, I don't know if I believe in an afterlife or not, but I'm open to the idea. You know what I mean? I don't want to say absolutely not.
I know.
I've never died, so I can't say for certain what I think. I'm just I don't know, but, it's cool to ponder, what could be or what is.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jack didn't believe in ghosts until we moved into this house.
Well, ask Jack, will he make me a pallet in his living room? Maybe me and Jack can have a sleepover,
You should.
He can take the couch. I'll make a pallet because I want to see something that just reaffirms to me holy crap, I believe in ghosts.
I guarantee if you spend one night in my house, I mean, I don't know if it would reaffirm your faith in ghosts, but something will happen.
I'd be down. Well, shoot, we need to just plan one night where I'll come over there and just stay really late and see if anything happens. Because
let's do it.
Maybe, I would say maybe we'll bring JP, but for the podcasting people that listen know that if it's not if it's any more than 10 miles from JP's house, it's probably not going to happen.
He's such a party pooper.
Right, he's a homebody. I mean, now he will go to bars and stuff, but they have to be around his town.
He parties pretty hard, but not like that kind of party pooper. But JP, we want you here.
Speak for yourself. I'm mad at him. No, of course, I wish he was here. But thank you so much for coming to the podcast. I hope that I can get you on. We have so many other podcasts that you would fit, like Random Rambling Wednesday, which is just where
I'm good at that.
Where we just literally talk about whatever. Sometimes the conversation would go like this, or sometimes it would go to conspiracy. Sometimes it goes to movies, just wherever.
Okay.
And Tuesday is Trending Tuesday, which you would enjoy. That's just where we go down a list of things that are trending on the internet and discuss them.
I don't even have internet.
You don't need it. We have it. I have it here in the man cave.
You can tell me about it. It'll be the first time I hear of it.
I usually read the stories to you anyways. You know what I mean? And that's what I kind of go for. Is more of JP's reaction to the stories or my reaction when I read it.
Out of me because I don't read anything on the internet anymore.
And what's funny is she did have internet, but the ghosts are blocking.
You just read my mind. I was about to say all the spirits are blocking the internet in my house.
I've had a lot of points in my life where I've said something as somebody was thinking it. You think I might be
Tits McGee?
I'm a Tits McGee?
No, remember Tits McGee when we both put that on?
Yeah.
Charade. What is it?
Scrabble, right?
No, it was the one where you put the list of...
Yeah, what is it?
Stop. Oh my God, you scared me.
I pointed behind Jessi because I said it's categories.
He was looking behind me and pointing, and it scared me.
And she smacked my arm. She's like, stop. Oh, yeah, but here you are going, I want to go to haunted houses with you.
No, well, you said asylums after I agreed.
Pointing at a game of categories just freaked her the fudge out. But that's right, we put Tits McGee under T.
For the same one.
What was that under, like,
I
pet
think
names?
Yeah. It was, yep, that's something like that.
That's awesome. But yeah, so lots of different options for you to join us. And next week, I don't know who we're going to have on here. I don't know if it'll be Matt. I think it's going to be Matt Crowder, but if it's not Matt Crowder, it'll definitely be Dan Ashdown. And maybe we'll wrap this up with Jessi, and she can finish the series off by giving me a tarot card.
Yes.
Which that'll give you like a month to kind of practice a little more.
I've been doing it for months, and I'm not going to be any better at it in a month, but we'll make it work.
All right, so we're going to make that happen on the final episode. Jessi's going to read myself and JP's. If JP's not here, then what we'll do is get him on the phone or Skype, and you'll read his too.
I can't wait to hear what JP has to say about it.
I can't wait to see what his fortune's going to be. But all right, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit the like button, and we have a Patreon now. Do you know what Patreon is?
No.
Patreon is this thing that internet people use. If somebody wants to support your channel, they basically can donate.
That's right.
And people have actually donated to ours, which is blowing my mind.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Right?
Y'all are awesome. You're what makes the world go round.
They really do. And I think at least half of them are not from the United States. Like one of them's from New Zealand, one guy is from Britain, or a couple of them are from Britain. Like we've got several people from. I'm like, man, they are
chop
all over. He's probably like, I'm taking my $1 a month back.
I'm sorry.
I don't know how much. Maybe he's giving. I'm not calling anybody specific. Maybe he's doing. I think you can do like 1, 5, 10, and 20. And even if you don't, subscribe to that, that's perfectly fine. We still love you. But if you want to, don't forget when we get to 20, we're giving away this crazy big prize pack. Which I probably should stop talking about that because I don't know when we're releasing these. So this could release in like a month, and if it does, we might have already drawn a winner. But odds are this will be out in like 2 weeks. So we're probably still going unless. But anyways, go subscribe to the Patreon. We got all kinds of cool stuff. I was talking about being in the graveyard. We've got a video on the Patreon exclusive for patrons where we were in the graveyard looking at these graves with all these weird markings and voodoo stuff.
Well, okay, you can tell me about that later.
So you can, if you just, like I said, you can pledge $1 and then you're able to watch it. But even if you don't, we still love you. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and thank Jessi for joining us. And anything else?
Thanks for listening to me.
Yeah, thanks for listening to my stories.
Thanks for listening.
So I don't even know what day this is. It's why I sound so lost. Number one is it's like 8 o'clock, and this is my second podcast of the day. 2, I don't know exactly when this is coming out. It'll be like within the next 2 or 3 weeks, so I don't know exactly how to end it. But either way, thanks for listening. Man, we're the podcasting dead, minus JP.
Plus Jessi.
That bastard. JP, not Jessi.